those are the ones that were together? They were that big?
Yep.
I'm thinking of making a really nice, beautiful salad this week. The middle of June. The middle of June? How in the world did that happen? I thought it was just Christmas. But then they're going to have Christmas in July. Hi, it is Robbie from Southern California. How the year has flown by. Though I'm telling you, we're working all the time, so we feel it, but we love it. Let's do a zip around the garden and see how much has changed in 2 weeks, because you can always go back and see the one from 2 weeks ago. And I think you're going to see a lot of changes, though if everything works well, I'll have even more changes in 2 weeks. So here is where I grow, not all, but a lot of my turmeric and ginger, mainly turmeric. Look how they're popping up. You know why? Because we're starting to get warmer. In Southern California, we don't get our warm nights until really July. And like cucumbers, the turmeric and ginger really love nights closer to 70 degrees, but we're getting there. Look, I popped in a couple radish seeds with it. I figured why not? As everything is growing, that's ginger, see? I might as well grow a couple other things, but look at all this. Is that not cool? Now, I moved a papaya in here. It didn't do well. It fizzled out or something bit it in half, because I came out here the other day, it was laying in half. I think I'm going to put some maybe turmeric in there. I have so much more to plant. And I'm going to move the papayas in a different place. I experimented with one. It's good I did one. And look at all the turmeric. Now that's a weed. We don't want weeds in there. So when we see weeds that we don't want, though I do put this in my green drink. This is just sow thistle. We'll just kind of lay it there and it will compost back in place. Look at all this growing. Oh my gosh. And then here are my carrots. I grow carrots in pots because it's easier. I can yank them out as needed. They're there. There's the orange carrot down there. Gonna leave it until I need it for my next green drink. This is a little bit of Swiss chard. These are cannas. I've got to figure out where I'm gonna put them. Then I propagated a few, not many, geraniums. There's one in here. And I've got to keep it really well watered in the beginning. So see, it's on a tray. This is potatoes. I just didn't have the heart to compost them, so I threw them in there. Are they going to grow? I don't know. And this is my last batch of carrots I did. So it works out really well. Let's keep walking, because there's not a lot new in the chair garden. I haven't gotten to that yet, and that's okay. If I rush, and this goes for anybody in your garden, and you get to the point where you're struggling through everything, I think that's when a lot of people back down and say, nope, they're done. It's too much work. I'm going at my pace, because after all, I'm doing the whole thing really myself. Oh, look. Almost. Oh, I better put a little tool on that, because I'll lose it. This year, I lost all my nectarines. Now, did I lose them because they had like 150 to 100 last year, and they cycled sometimes every other year? Or was it because we had a heat wave go through when they had the flowers, and then we got a cool spell, and a lot of the flowers fell off? So I'm not sure. Whatever happened, happened. But I'll take care of the plant. I'll groom it in the winter. And then hopefully next year I'll get a whole bunch. But at least I've got a couple on there. I think Gary counted 5. And 5 isn't that good. But the plant is healthy and doing good. So that's the main thing. And I'm going to trim down in the fall my apple trees and see if that will spark them into growing. Now again, these were all grown from seed. I'm not even sure how old they are. 6 years old. So we'll see how that goes. This is just an avocado that came up in the compost and I left it. This is my mess. Yep, I will get to it. Though, even though you see nothing in here really growing much, I do have a zucchini in the back. I've got the cannas I've got to get out because they broke the tote to nothing. I've got purple tree collard growing. I've got celery, and then I've got an overgrown geranium. Oh my goodness, does this need grooming? And I've got tomatoes in the background. I can see all the red tomatoes, but that's okay. And I've got a horsefly-like bee zipping around me just to see what I'm doing. He probably lives in here. And a celery on the bottom that should be transplanted. And then look at this, the forget-me-nots and milkweed for the butterflies. I'll get to it. You know, if I get serious and come out here, because I haven't touched this at all, I can probably have the whole thing done in about 3 days. To take care of a garden like this on chairs and totes, it's extremely easy and it's fast. But I have been doing so many other things around here. You'll see as we walk around. I figured I'll wait. And I'm not sure, maybe I'll put watermelon in here, cucumbers, or just tomatoes. Oh, I've got so many tomato plants. Maybe tomatoes. The truck bed, after I painted it, remember it used to be white? I think to make life easier, I'm going to leave this as a little natural habitat. So there's milkweed in there, there's marigolds growing in there, all the geraniums, and the birds nest in there, so why not? So that's what's happening here, and it's doing good. I even have nasturtiums. I think we'll get more flowers in there. Oh, I've got a lot of flower seeds. I'll put more flower seeds in there. Look at the tomatoes growing wild on the ground. Squirrels have been eating a few, but that's okay. Let them eat this and leave my garden alone. Look at this. Oh, it's still flowering. Oh, cool. Oh, well, that one came off. The pomegranates. Now this one, it's got pomegranates on top. Doesn't have as many. But look at this. This one's packed with pomegranates. Is that not cool? I have no idea how many there are, but they're all full in there. That one doesn't have any. It probably doesn't get as much water. I always come over here and give it a good water. So this one's getting more water, obviously. But look at that. I'm going to be harvesting pomegranate soon. This, we really kind of neglected it. Gary is thinking of changing the bathtub into a planter, and then we'll just concentrate on here. But again, we have a raccoon issue. The raccoons don't bother any of the plants, but they do come in here and swim. So that's why there's no water plants right now, any water features. We could always fence it off, but then it kind of takes away from what I was trying to do. And they do take everything out. I do have a frog living in here. I was gardening and I found a little frog. Oh, I gotta figure out where to put him. He was in my tomato garden. Let me figure out where I'm gonna put him. But there's a little frog. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but I walked him over to the pond and I let him go there. I will say I hadn't heard him ribbit for days. And that night, after I put him next to the pond, he started ribbiting. Gary said he might have roamed around and maybe he couldn't find his way back, but he's somewhere around there now because that's where I left him. So I think right now we won't bother with it except keep the meadow going because this is my meadow. And look at the pomegranates here. Is that not gorgeous all through here? I grew these from seed. If you're eating a pomegranate, spit those seeds if you don't eat them. I don't eat the seeds. Into a pot, I was composting them, and then I had hundreds of trees. Oh my goodness. They're so easy to grow too, as long as the food wasn't irradiated. If you're getting it from the grocery store and they irradiated it, then it may not grow if it affects the seeds. Look at my moringa. Harvest that all the time from my green drink. Now the wall, I'm still working on that, but I've been kind of doing it slowly. I've got the green celery, which is going good with the tomato plant in there. I've got the red celery that I don't like, but I won't let it flower. So this way it won't cross pollinate the green one. Then I've got purslane growing in there. I use that for my green drink. And like I said, this is sow thistle. I leave this for the pollinators, the hummingbirds, but I also use the leaves in my green drink. I've got green sorrel. I've got a tomato plant that came up. I have no idea what kind, but that's okay. Look how full it is. Doing its own thing. No work for me. Isn't that great? I've got Malabar spinach in there too. It's going to start to go up in the back there. I love when plants come up on their own. I can just step back and say, go for it. More tomato plants, just have to groom it. I left the sow thistle because the hummingbirds use the seed heads for nesting. And then the other birds eat it too. This I have to clean up. That's just old. And look at this celery. This celery grows everywhere. I don't want this celery, see? Though I can take it in afterwards and use this in a green drink, I will. It grew out of those small holes on the bottom. I think I will. Let me put this over here and I'll go back and get it later because that's beautiful. What I can do is stick this in soil or water. It will reroot, though I don't know if I'm going to bother, but the greens, put that in a beautiful bowl and I can be harvesting these greens now for probably a week, whether it goes into a salad, a tuna salad, a chicken salad, or my green drink. Again, has to be cleaned out, but these are these walking onions? I think they've got to be walking onions. Though I have found some real onions coming up. Now here is where I'm not sure where my butterfly garden is going to start or end. If I don't want any work, I end it there. But I still really want to use the elevated raised bed with the totes. These are 18-gallon totes. Probably going to clean that up. And maybe I'll get some more zucchini planted in there. See, I've got Malabar spinach. Move some of the milkweed. I don't want the milkweed on top of my squash, though I can leave it. Didn't get to this yet. I was planning on putting cucumbers in there, which I still may, because we can do that all through the summer. Remember, cucumbers really like warm nights. And right now we're still about 58 to 62. And they can fizzle out if it's not warm enough. Now this is definitely where the butterfly garden ends right now. And it goes all through here. And we've got all kinds of flowers in here. There are marigolds. I don't think they've started. There is an occasional tomato plant in there. I've got cannas in there. I've got the Mexican sage, which is the purple flowers. And of course, tons of milkweed. Oh, I should move this. Put this in the bird garden. This is another pomegranate. I really don't need it in here because it's going to get too big and the birds love sitting in it in the bird garden. Still don't know if I'm going to take that avocado tree out. I am thinking about it, but I'll keep the purple tree collard in there. There's a couple of them in there because even though they're kind of cramped and they're skimpy, you know, they grow kind of in a skimpy way. Look, the worms must get to them. I can do all these beautiful cuttings. See how nice and straight they are? You would take a cutting off of that, prep it, and then just propagate it that way. So I'm leaving that definitely. And then that's what this all is. It's basically a butterfly garden. And this is where it ends here with these these cars that I've got to do something with. Why? Because when Circuit City closed, I had to have them. Gary said, what in the world are you going to do with them? Oh, I'm going to take my grandkids to Disneyland. These things weigh 50 to 100 pounds. They're really heavy. They're made for a grocery store or a store to take your kids shopping, fill the basket, and keep them entertained because they have the steering wheel. No, it never went to Disneyland. They got parked here all over, and then I decided, well, I'll plant in them. So right now I planted tomatoes. I've got in here, we'll see how it grows. This is a volunteer, and it is growing flowers. Good, because this is one of my volunteers. I have noticed that on the pear tomatoes, some of them grow just leaves, and some of them will grow fruit. See, I've got fruit starting back there. So what I'm starting to do is grow a whole bunch. If I see fruit starting, then I grab those and plant them. If they get bigger and bigger and there's no fruit, I discard those, and then I just go on with something else. Now this one is a San Marzano, and I planted this from seed from the one that was there last year. See? That was the one that was there last year. Kept one tomato, which was interesting. I planted a whole bunch of seeds, and only one came up. So I'm not sure if they made it into a designer plant now where they're not supposed to grow, but that one grew. It looks like it's already trying to throw tomatoes. So this is great. And remember, those buckets are full of just leaves and matter from the garden. I garden on the free. I could go ahead and buy the best soil, $50 a bag. I could go buy different plant food, $70, whatever I want. You know, because I've seen some of these little bottles of plant food for $70. You know, I really don't want to have to look at my tomatoes and think, wow, this tomato only cost me $15. No. I do it on the free. And as I always tell you, I do it the way nature does. All these plants all over are growing free. And if they can do it, I can do it. And I don't need to look at my tomato, think of how much it costs me. I'd rather look at my tomato, eat it and enjoy it, and know it cost me pennies. And if I don't like it, I don't grow it again. And that's the way I garden. And that's the way Gary gardens. I will buy an occasional bag of potting soil, and I will use that to start seeds or maybe even move very small, tender plants. Gary does not. He does not use any of my potting soil. And I think we can all do that. But let me tell you something. If you can afford to go ahead and buy all these expensive products, you do that. Whatever it takes to have you garden. We do not. We do not spray. We do not use expensive plant food. at all. We don't use any plant food, and we don't buy expensive potting mix. I actually buy one of the cheapest ones, and it does the job for me because I'm always going back and foraging for compost or soil in old totes that I have all kinds of stuff in, and that works for me. So I want to be able to look at my fruit that I'm growing and know that it didn't cost me that much. You know what? We're here. Let's zip over here. And then because there's not much in the front yard. But this is just an old tote I set up a long time ago. Red vein sorrel. This plant I moved here. Still struggling a little bit. It's just a hummingbird's lunch, but I needed to get it out of one of the totes here. So let's see what I'm doing here. This is the rainbow garden. I haven't gone from this way before. This is the small dog kennel, which right now I'm using it to hold plants and start some of my plants. This is my work table. Talk about cuttings. These are all cuttings that are coming up. That's what I said. I got a lot of tomatoes. This I believe is black cherry. Oh, you know, I didn't even see this. It got buried. I didn't know that I grew some zucchini, put them in here and forgot about it. So now I've got to get those planted. More tomato. Oh, look, they're growing tomatoes. Which one is this? Black cherry cuttings. This is weeds. There's nothing in there. More black cherry. Hold on, we got a weed. Remember, this is my soil. We got purslane, very nice, but it takes over. We don't want it in there. Got a poor pepper planted from seed. Look at this. You do not need a lot of room to grow peppers. This is from the grocery store. Will they always grow exactly, those little bell peppers I get, the same? No, but that's okay. I get peppers, and that's all I care about. Look at this. Remember those stands that used to be in the dog kennel? Well, I brought 2 of them out here, put them together, and now I'm going to have lettuce, bok choy, or whatever I want to grow here. Look at my lettuce. I'm thinking of making a really nice, beautiful salad this week. You don't want weeds. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at this. I didn't cover it with tulle yet, though I can at any time. But I did cover it to shade it. And that is saving the plants. Look at all my lettuce. And you know what? Every single one is free. The soil is all free. It all came out of other totes. The lettuce is coming up from the lettuce I'm growing. Easiest thing to grow. Once you start, you won't have to buy any more. You really need to grow lettuce. You want to grow lettuce, you want me to do a video just on that, I will do that. I've done some in the past. But you know what? As the years go on, things change. And I haven't done it like this. I did it a little differently, but look at this. Is that not cool? So here's the irrigation tubing I absolutely love. The cheapest thing you can buy, and you can trellis and do all kinds. Look at this. If my lettuce right now, and we were 90 yesterday, the past couple days. If it didn't have the irrigation tubing, if it didn't have the plants that I put here, the silk and plastic plants, this would be full sun. And lettuce doesn't like full sun when it's 90 degrees, but this, it can take it. And there's a lot of stuff we can do. Let's keep walking. It's so quiet today. I'm trying to do this before weed whackers and everything starts, because it will soon. I'm not really thrilled with these. I bought this purple ruffles, and to me, I look at them, and they never look like they're doing good. Though maybe something did eat it, though Gary did say he's harvesting some leaves. I've got different types of basil growing through here. That's Thai basil. I think this is holy mint. We've got the sage. This is my pizza garden. It kind of got overgrown with other stuff, but that's good. This is the basil we grow the best. The plain old green basil does really good. Rosemary, stuck a piece in there and it's growing. Oregano, though it's in a pot in there, it really likes growing on the ground. This is where I propagated it from. It was growing in, I think, the pot on the bottom, in the bucket, and then it spilled over and grew on the ground, and that's the happiest place. I really want to take out the milkweed, but I'm kind of analyzing that it might be growing really good because the milkweed is shading it and giving it protection. This milkweed may stay, though I will keep my path clear. So if it comes out too much, I'll trim it. See, I separated all those ruffled. Oh, this one's doing good. I don't know, it just looks like a plant that's always struggling. But I mean, I'm gonna try. I've got so many and might as well. Gary's gonna put some in his garden. Red vein sorrel. This is the original geranium that I picked up somewhere, a tiny piece. And I've grown maybe 30 plants off of this. Remember, you propagate those, you compost all those leaves too. This turned into more of a pepino garden. And it's kind of to keep my new cuttings going. So these are all cuttings. So if I wanted to start a fresh plant, they're always nicer when they first start like this. I can come through here and grab any of these and grow them. That one's being eaten by rabbits, and that's okay. I figured let it drape over, let the rabbits come and eat that because it's easy, even the squirrels if they came by, because this is something they can just sit there and munch, and then they don't jump up here and bother my plant. And this plant's been here for years. So we'll see how this does. So I did freshen the pot up there. Let's walk around here. This is the finger lime. I'm debating if I'm gonna have Gary put it in his garden. I can't even touch this. These are spikes. Literally, they'll tear your hand. Oh, it's flowering. I've been starting to give it oh, it is. Okay, Gary's not gonna take it now. I told him I wanted it out, but it is coming back. I've been feeding it compost tea. That milkweed may go. That milkweed may go. Got one tote left here to do, and then I planted peppers. And what I'm gonna do, I just put those peppers in there. I think I'm gonna put 4 pepper plants in here. When I build this up, dump in some soil from another tote and then go for it, because they're doing so good. This plant's actually from last year. It came back. I thought I was gonna take it out. This one's from last year too, and this is potato mint. I don't want it. This was his project. He wanted it. Somehow, you'll see, I ended up with potato mint. Look at that. Okay, let's look this way. Oh, my pepinos. You know, this is getting really heavy. Look at the pepinos. Last year I had a whole bunch and they disappeared. The squirrels came. So I wrapped them in tulle. The squirrels that here don't like tulle, though you can get the occasional one that does. They won't touch it. So I'm going to have to wrap these soon and let them grow like that or I'll lose it. This all has to be redone. I haven't touched this yet and I'm hoping to get to it within 2 weeks. But look over here, the strawberries are doing good. I don't know if I will repeat this next year. We'll talk about this later in the season. I think there's far better ways to actually grow strawberries. See how small they are? There's better ways of doing that. Let's walk over here. See the pepinos here? Wrapped in tulle. I looked at it and thought, I'm going to come out here and think, why didn't I wrap it in tulle? Look at this. And there's more inside. They haven't found it. This is gorgeous. You can eat them like this, which I probably will make a salad with them. Or you can wait till they get yellow, but they're never going to be super sweet. Though they call them pepino melons, they're in the tomato family. And they're not a melon. They just have this one got burned from the sun. Look at that. I think I'll throw some plastic flowers on top of that later. But they're never going to taste sweet like a melon. They just have that name. Pepino in Spanish in Mexico means cucumber, and it has more of a cucumber taste. So it kind of, when it gets yellowish, has a cucumber sweet flavor. So I think salad is good, though we do put it in stir fry. My water feature I made that out of a milk carton. See the leaf? I lined the whole inside with leaves, poured cement in when Gary was working with cement, put a tube in there, and now I have a water feature, and it's all done with leaves because the leaves come right off after it was cured and done. Pepinos growing in here. This one got moved from there, lifted, all new soil underneath, doing really good. Got to get tulle around here for my squash. These are all flower seeds. I saved a whole bunch of seeds. I threw some, had an old a snapdragon mix. I threw some in there. Are they going to grow? I don't know, but these are all zinnias from my garden. So I saved them. Malabar spinach, squash, got to get tulle on that. I just tulled this because I looked at it last night and thought if I don't get it tulled, I'm going to come out here and have the same problem. So tulled it. Now this is in black. And if you notice, if you want to do that in your garden, see how you don't see it and you can see the plant? It's really good. And that one's in red. So it kind of is up to you which way you would rather do it. Do you want to see your tulle or do you want to keep it subtle where you see your garden? That's up to you. Though one of the people that watch me, actually I've had a couple people say that, they claim that the red keeps some of the squirrels and rodents away. Is that true? I don't know because I use both. and I haven't had any problems with the black, but it's good to know, so it's worth experimenting with. But remember, inside my description, under the video, you would have to be on a computer or a phone. You can tap on that, and you may see another word that says more. You tap on that, and I have links to where I'm buying this right now. When I need it, I buy it on eBay. It's like $15, 40 yards long, 54 inches wide. You probably would only need one bolt. That's what it's called, a bolt. And you probably have it for next year as well. It lasts forever. This black tulle wrapped that entire dog kennel, and I still have, looks like the whole bolt left. So you get a lot when you get 40 yards, 54 inches wide. That is amazing how much you get. If you went to a fabric store, this stuff could sell for $3 a yard. It could even sell for $4 a yard. So definitely get it online. And it's free shipping too. This is going to start to throw more fruit. Yep. And I'll have to clip this back. And I just use, well, here I made snaps with the irrigation tubing. See, off of that, and just split it, and I made snaps. Or you can use clothespins, but they break. I prefer the metal binders. And see, there's my frog tape. Put a little bit of frog tape, and then you can clip it on. It's not going anywhere. Is this cool? Oh, I didn't do this one. I gotta do this one. Look at this. I propagated that. I found this. Oh my gosh, it's got a flower. I found this piece laying by Harbor Freight because they had a planter. It was laying on the cement, all dried up, brought it home, put it in water. It puffed back up. Now it's rooted, and I'm going to have a flower, and it's in a pot, so I can move it if I want. These are all zinnias coming up underneath, but I've got to get tulle around here. Look, I've got a fruit there too, because otherwise the squirrels are going to come and take it. And like I said, I'm just kind of doing things in here. I got to get coffee. My throat is dry. Thyme, that's from last year, so it's over a year old now. I've got lettuce growing in here. There's my papaya plants. Definitely have to get them planted in pots and try again somewhere else. I've got lettuce growing there. Got a bird feeder I did not like, neither did the birds. So now it is growing lettuce. Is that not cool? But right now I'm kind of working in here. I've got all my junk, propagating. Ooh, we're dry. Propagating some geraniums in here as I'm growing lettuce. Might as well give it, I'm here. Peas, it's too warm for peas, but isn't this gorgeous? So I'm getting there. I'm doing stuff. Let's step out of here. So right now, like I said, he covered this up, and I started putting plants like that one. Had that ready to plant in the pot, and a squirrel came. So it was either compost it or wait. See, it's sitting on water. It might make a comeback. It depends how much damage the core of the plant had. I figured I'm not losing anything. It doesn't cost me anything to let it just sit there. And at some point, if I think, nah, it's worthless, I'll plant something else in there. And then the dog kennels here. You can do this separate because this will take too long. I'm not done in here. I've got a lot more to do. Oh, I've got to show you how I'm doing that. This is composting in place and then planting in it. The cucumbers are taking off. The watermelon is just starting to take off here. This is just some Swiss chard. I actually cut it all back and used that to plant in, to use it for compost. A lot of it's in there. And then I've been picking zucchini here. This all has to be done. This is a waste because now the way I set it up, I have far more foot space to grow. There's that plant that was so bad when I bought it. She gave it to me half price. There were 2 of them in a pot. This is called cherry drops. It's coming back really good. This was something I just found, forgot I had it, so I put that in there. This is a zucchini, correct? Yep, from Dollar Tree, the seeds. So we'll see how that goes. Pepper from last year. Got some zucchini, that one got damaged. We'll take that one off and compost it. I threw some Korean melons in there, the seeds. I've got to get that covered a little bit better to see if they'll grow. More peppers, everywhere peppers. Look at that. So this is going to be changed here. And I just haven't gotten to it. It's going to be set up more like this because it gives you a lot of place to grow, gives me the aisle, and then I can still hang things if I want. So it's going to be fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. I was planning on doing this short because there isn't a whole lot, but I guess it's going to take longer than I thought. Potato mint everywhere. I told Gary, take your potato mint. Every time you look around, there's potato mint. See that same bag? You saw that for the past 2 months. Same bag. It's almost empty. No, still has a lot in it. Milkweed I moved. And then here I have one more tote to set up. I was experimenting with some squash, and I can tell you about that afterwards. Was it a success? You know what? I think it was. So I'm going to end up working with that squash. The bees have been all over this. This one is just a zucchini. I've got to get it out. The problem is I've got too much now. Literally. I am growing so much zucchini. You don't even see what I pick and use. I made refried beans last night. Gary loved them. Half of it is zucchini. He doesn't like straight beans, but it tastes great, and you can eat all you want because you're eating more vegetables than a lot of beans. So I'm going to get that planted, and I probably will yank out one of those plants and put it in there. But that looks like I want a few more fruit to test. It may have been a success for me to grow here on our property. And that's basically what's going on. We can do the dog kennel separate. This too, I will do it differently next year, though I'm quite happy with it. 6 different tomato plants growing in there. I already know one I will never plant again, but that's all right, because some of you may love the tomato. I do not, neither does Gary. It's very crowded in there for tomatoes. That's why I said there'll be a little bit different things growing. There's that purple basil. It always looks like it's on its way out. And then I've got parsley, peppers all through here. You can't see them. Marigolds growing. But then you can go back and see which ones I planted. We'll sit down and talk about it. There are tomatoes all through here. I've got to find them. They're not real red yet. Oh gosh, they're way back there. Hold on. I don't know if you can see them right there. I don't think you can. Okay, but I'm still waiting to see which ones we will do again and which ones we won't. And keep water at hand. You know, I don't think I showed you the strawberries. We'll walk over to the strawberries, and then we'll take a peek. We'll walk from the front yard to the bird garden, because I haven't done anything in the front yard yet. I'm letting it go wild. Gary found this table in the trash. This is the way to grow strawberries. These are the dish pans. I love them. They're a little smaller than the black ones, but we grow so many strawberries because they do need more space than those cute little stackable things. There's never enough food in there for them. They get root bound. You want a little more room for your strawberries, and I guarantee you, you will get far more strawberries when you give them a little bit room, and then if you put them in those tight little things, and they'll keep on going. And look, I've even got garlic growing in here. Is that not cool? Garlic there, and then garlic all along the dog kennel. Now, when you go through, though Gary doesn't want to take the plant out, he cuts them off and they regrow. I said, you know, you can pull the whole thing out. I didn't grow it just to grow garlic bulbs. I grew it to grow the beautiful tasting green garlic. But no, he cuts it off and he puts it on his tortillas that way. And whatever way he wants to do it, it doesn't matter. Bought it from the grocery store. They were organic. They weren't treated with anything, and they grew great. And that's all that counts. You know what? Let's go to the front yard. We're in the front yard. Does it look any different to you? I don't think so. It doesn't look any different to me. Though I guess the geraniums are getting bigger. I'm still thinking if I'm going to clear this out and put something else here. But look, I've got brassicas growing. I got pine trees growing way up to the sky. Nice place to sit if you want to just come out into the forest. That's what it's like. And I still never got to my table, but I still plan on it because I am growing things in there. I've got zucchini growing in there. I've got brassicas growing in there. I've got different things, but I do want to get to this. I've got priorities of what needs to be done first. All these separate gardens, be it the chair garden, the truck bed, the wall garden, the rainbow garden, the bird garden, you name it, the butterfly garden, it's me. Because Gary said, the more gardens you build, the more you have to take care of, because he's got his own, and I understand that. So I either get frustrated and think I can't get enough done quick enough, or I say, stop. Do it at your pace. What's the difference? A garden is never done, right? We're always changing things. Plants are dying or plants are growing. And so I'm going at my pace. Will I get to here? You betcha I will, because that's a beautiful table that we found in the trash and it works really good. And I'm growing zucchini in there in dish pans. So there's a ton of stuff I can grow. A little tool on that. and the squirrels can't get it. But anyways, let's keep going. So this is the front garden. I've got all the different geraniums here if I want to do cuttings, and maybe I want a geranium plant somewhere in the bird garden. Just come out here, snap a piece off. Goodness, we grow enough of it. Gary can't stand it. Why? Let me step back. Because I don't trim it. So that's the only thing he comes through and he trims it and goes, this thing doesn't stop growing. I said, isn't that wonderful? And they're planted in the bricks, just raw. Years ago, I planted it with compost in there, cake and everything, what was left over. It was a bunch of junk, bunch of food products. Stuffed those bricks and just stuck in sticks. And look at that. It is thriving. It's probably gone into the ground. It's getting whatever it needs, but it is thriving. And it didn't cost me a penny to plant all these beautiful flowers. All right, and then here is normally where I grow my ginger and turmeric. I used to grow it only here, and we had something set up there. Not anymore. I'm going to do a lot in the back, though I am still bringing more out here because I need to. I don't have room. But this is the blue turmeric or the black turmeric. I've got more growing here. See the stripe on there? They're struggling a little bit, and again, it's not warm enough. I'm not sure what this. Oh, I did this. Oh gosh. All right, I'll do a separate video on this. These are flowers. And how do I know? Because the flowers there. I grow flowers in a very unique, very odd way that people would think it's crazy, but it works for me. Look at that. This is the hummingbird lunch, another propagated one. And then I've got some flowers underneath there. So I'm working on this. I kind of threw some things there. Let's go into the bird garden. I'm still trying to get down to Gary's garden. I haven't done that yet. There's the bird garden. So we've made a circle. Gary's garden is down there, and he's been working. I have no idea since the time you and I went down there what is down there. But he has just been working and setting up things, so we will have to make a trip down there. And it is a hike. I either use those stairs or I go around from the other way where the truck bed is and I hike down. Let me tell you what I did. Let's go into the bird garden. Look, he's going to plant a passion fruit here. I gave him the okay. He said, what do you want here? And I was thinking dragon fruit. And I said, do you have any extra passion fruit? He goes, oh, they're growing everywhere. Drop a passion fruit. So he's going to put that in the ground there. As I was saying, look at all the geraniums. What was going on in here is while I decided to do the garden tour now, because it was nice and quiet, I set up my camera because I don't know what goes on when I'm not here all the time. I don't always check. Look at this. All the stuff is growing in here. Geraniums, more geraniums spotted in there to grow. This I'm composting, getting ready to plant in there. I went ahead and right here, I put my tripod and I left it. And then I took it in. So when I tell you that we've got, 100 or 200 spice finches, the munias, that were introduced into Southern California, I'm not kidding. I haven't even looked at the footage. I don't know what came in here. Hopefully no hawks, but there's so many obstacles through here, they really can't catch anything. I saw a hawk the other day on my deck. He tried to catch a dove, but there's so many plants and different things, he missed it. He actually lost feathers. He hit my camera and feathers blew off and you could see he had nothing. I don't know if I've got that footage I can show you, but he didn't catch anything. And if you put a lot of obstacles around, we've got the arches there, we've got the wood, one came down, but there's wood through here, branches. They can't maneuver good because they need a swoop. And if you can break up that clear swoop for them to get a bird, you can help. Can you help in nature? No, because that's what they eat. But you can help in your own garden. But anyways, I set the camera up here, I think for about 30 minutes. Came through here and threw some seed out here. I'll go ahead and put the raw footage, again, I don't know what came in, on the other channel I've got, which is called Hummingbirds Plus, and that's on YouTube. If you want to sit back and see what comes to all these feeders, I do plan on redoing this slowly. You don't want to shock the birds, and cleaning it up and make it look even prettier, because some of these trays have been out here for years. So kind of refreshing them up, change up the plants a little bit, maybe put some extra flowers through here. And if I don't deadhead this one soon, it's going to stop throwing flowers. That's my blanket flower. But I'll put it up and you can see what came. We know what finches need. So we have supplied the spice finches with what they need, and there are hundreds. We are also changing things up as far as plants. We've got some plants growing there. The lemon verbena, a lot of different things that they eat, the seed. We're going to plant a lot of that in here, and Gary's hope is they're going to start nesting all over here. So we'll see, because right now I don't believe they're nesting here. They're nesting somewhere, but if we can change that up, we're going to provide them with the seed that they eat, because they eat different grasses, so we're planting that. They eat the lemon verbena seeds. They're back there. See, you can't see them when I walk over here. They kind of tuck away into all the plants. So I'll put the footage up. Again, it's called Hummingbirds Plus. That's with an S, Hummingbirds Plus. So different times I've got something that is non-garden related, though this is all gardening. You can go check that out. And when I find footage that I've done and I'm not using it, or I only need it, let's say, off of it 10 seconds, but I recorded 30 minutes, I'll throw that up there. But that's what I'll throw up there today. So you can go check it out and see what's there. I don't know what's there. Hopefully nothing horrifying. But we've got all kinds of birds in here. The pintail whitus, speaking of that, there he is. He's one of the babies that came here. Yes, you are, and you're a proud guy. Let me zoom in. This is so cool. Look at that tail. Look at that tail on him, and he's proud of that. He's the big proud male here, though I will tell you we now have multiple male pintail whitus there. You can't see them, but in the back, it is full of spice finches. They're a very interesting bird. The females have been here too. Yes, you tell them. They breed with the females, but the females, like your cowbirds, do not build a nest. So they go to the spice finches and they lay their eggs in there. And they raise the pintail whitus along with their own. I've done videos on them, and I'm going to have to do more because it's so adorable, because the spice finches come back with their babies and then they have pintails in there, and the pintails are so loud, and the spice finch babies are so laid back. It's like, come on, mom, come on, dad, feed us. Where the pintails are screaming in the ear of the parents, and they stay a little longer. They don't wean as quickly. Oh my gosh, they're all coming in now. You know, I just put seed out. I'll have to put more out. Like I said, we have hundreds of spice finches. Yes, these are the same ones they sell in the pet stores. But going back to the pintails, there's so many now that it's just so fun. This is the greatest garden, and it's small. It's really, it only goes from here to there. I've never measured it. What is it? 10, 15 feet, and then it's just long. It's kind of an odd place out here, and it's a very narrow, see how where it ends? But it's just full of plants. So this garden, what my goal is, so I can continue to do the vegetable gardens, is to keep this where I have less maintenance. Though I do have to water it, because so many things are in pots, almost everything. I don't have to worry about it in the winter. I don't have to change a lot of things out. It's just going to keep on going. And that is my goal. I'm changing this area up here, so I'm not going to bother showing you this. I looked at this and I thought, I don't need all these tables. I'm propagating now and doing it in the dog kennels. I'm going to keep one table for whatever I need if I am propagating some stuff. And the other one's going, and I'm going to set more chairs up so I can sit here and be able to enjoy the birds. Maybe I'll move the table over and sit here so I don't have a pole in my face. But whatever, I'm going to change it up and then get more feeders in here. I've got really a unique feeder I want to make, and I really should do it with you. I was somewhere and I bought this little bird cage for $2, and I think there's so much I can do. I wish you could see that, but you can't. I'll put the other footage up. I can try to zoom in, but there's a whole bunch of spice finches right inside there. And they're just loving the lemon verbena. Can you imagine? I've planted another one here. Salvias work really good too, but see the lemon verbena growing right here? They love that because not only do they hide in it, he's got a lot to say, the pintail. They eat the little tiny seeds off of it too, and so do canary wings and other birds too. So, not canary wings. Oh my goodness, the goldfinches, the house finches, they all eat the seeds off of that too. We do have canary wings, but I haven't seen them lately. And they don't come here, but they'll fly over and you'll see them zip by. But the small birds do eat the seed from the lemon. My goodness, he doesn't want me talking. This is not about you, okay, little guy? Should name him. But he's letting everybody know that he's here. And he wants them to know I'm in charge and what I say goes. He can chase everybody away and he wants to eat in a feeder by himself. That's what he does. He looks so big because of that tail that's about 8-10 inches long. So they're not sure about that. He whips it around, but he can't hurt anybody. But you know what? They don't know that. So that's it. So we've walked around all the gardens, made this longer than I was planning on, like usual. Nothing else is new. If I don't deadhead this, I'm going to end up, well, you know what? Look, it keeps flowering, but all this has to come off. You take it all the way down and you cut them off, and I just compost that. Never been able to work with those seeds good, but boy, can you make these from cuttings. Here's a borage that I planted from seed, and this is just, it was just shaded a little bit because it was so small, but it's taken off now and it doesn't really need that. I can stick that somewhere else. All these plants, I just love them. But again, my goal here is to make life easier so I can just walk through this jungle, keep things kind of clear on the ground. I'm working here and be able to know that I don't have to struggle to come in here like a vegetable garden. You want to take all the leaves off. I came through here this morning and I removed a lot of yellow leaves. And then after I did that, you don't throw that away. That is gold. I went ahead and put it in a tote that I'm getting ready to set up with squash or something. But the point is I want to make this easy so it stays fun. Though I'm going to have tons of food growing in here. I've got all kinds of brassicas. 20-foot tall tree collard. Look at that. We eat that. I don't even know what this thing is Gary bought. The sunflowers, they're down here and you can't grow them from seed really good, but you propagate. Here it is. He gave me one and he said, you can have it. And it's like, I can't see the flowers. And look at the fig tree. I'm going to cut that back, but later, because this will be really greatly appreciated by the birds in the hot summer. Right now, we're not that hot. We've been, yes, 90. But when it gets hot and then it's hot all day and night, that will be nice for the birds to hang out during the day. And this is it. This is my tree collard jungle. I told you last year I was going to cut it back. No. I use the leaves, I cook with them, I make a green drink out of them, and then again, perfect stem to propagate from. I just love them. And then oh boy, if I don't get my trough strung up, this is my tomatoes growing in here. There's 2 plants, and then I've got the pot marigolds. It's just gonna go wild on me. But this has got the irrigation tubing. I gotta cut one more piece for the back half, and then I'll get the tool on here. So far, I'll show you what the squirrels are doing. They're eating some of the brassicas back there. So as long as they're eating that, they have left my tomatoes alone. So I've got tomatoes just starting, but see, they're green. And one of them is a volunteer. I believe this one is. And one of them is a sun gold. And I can't, let me see if I can get in there because I am labeling. Why am I labeling? Because I forget. Okay. I love that I'm labeling. This is the sun gold. So I bought this one. And then that one is a volunteer. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to start working with a lot of volunteers because they grow better. Once you start growing something on your property and it's happy, it will come up quickly. It'll be stronger and you'll get fruit and vegetables from it faster because it's used to your property. So we've come all the way down. And you know, I went in there this morning in Gary's room here, and he took that pineapple plant that he bought. It looked like there were 2 or 3 little pineapples in there. It was a little tiny pot. It's been sitting on my deck for the longest time. I put it out there for the hummingbirds to buzz around and check it out because I had never seen, you know, a pineapple flower. I wanted to see what the actual flower looked like, and the birds were kind of looking at it and checking it out. Too tiny, I think, even for the hummingbirds for that particular type of pineapple. So he took it in there, and apparently he recorded taking it apart. It looks so massive. And he's going to put that up on Let Us Be Gardening, the other channel, where it's just silent stuff. Just when we're working, if there's a camera around. Because sometimes you never know where there's a camera recording. See? So he's going to put that up there. I didn't see him do it. But now he's got these big plants. And I can't believe they all came out of one little pot. And that was those are the ones that were together? They were that big?
Yep.
I didn't even realize they were in such a tiny pot.
Well, they are in a tiny pot.
Oh, look at that.
Mm.
And that you're going to separate too soon or no?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's one on the other side? No, I thought you were pointing. Oh, down there.
One there and two up here. And see the size of the fruit.
Okay, so that was the ones that were in the tiny pot.
Yeah.
And turned out, how many plants turned out in there?
There's actually 4 because there's this one. This is still attached.
Hold on. Those 3 came out of one pot?
Yeah, these 3 came out of a pot.
Holy mackerel.
Came out the same size pot as that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't understand. Those 3 plants were in the pot that's been on the deck all this time?
Yep, same size pot, that size. And I figured out what happened because when I took them out and started separating them off, there was a stump. So what I believe happened is they had one like this and it died. They cut it at the base and it grew 3 from the base.
Did all 3 have roots now?
Yes. They were all separate except for this one still attached to this one. That's why I planted these 2 together.
So one of the plants died and they just stuck in another one? Is that what it was? And they started growing?
No, the roots. They grew from the roots of the dead
So they
plant.
cleared off they thought the dead plant or
Yep.
the plant they couldn't sell. They stuck in another one and then the other one grew back.
They didn't stick in another one. The original plant root is still here.
It grew 3 plants off one root?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, see how this is growing a sucker?
Yeah, I see that.
Well, 3 grew from the root, and 3 suckers grew from the root, which turned out to be these ones. And this one's behind, but it's still attached to the mother plant.
Oh my goodness. And the other one should get a flower eventually too.
Yeah. Now that it's separated, it'll establish a root system and produce a flower.
Okay, so you recorded yourself taking that one plant apart. I want to see that. And you're going to put that on Let Us Be Gardening, our other channel?
Yeah, I'll put that on Let Us Be Gardening. Won't be any talking, just an introduction to explain what I'm doing.
And then you might do a video later.
I might do a video later.
So it's just going to be you doing it. How long did it take you? Do you know?
About 14 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to see that because I still can't believe how much you got out of that tiny pot because I've been putting it in and out. You've been putting it in and out on the deck because we take it in at night. And it didn't look that big.
Yeah, it didn't look that big. And now you can see the two pots that I bought. This one and that one. So the mass of this is the mass of that.
It's good you went that day. We were there when they got the delivery because they said they've never seen one come in with that many plants in one pot. There's usually only one plant.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll go ahead and I'll put the name on the top here so you can see what it's called because it's bee, like in BEE, like the bees. And you can check that out. I don't know anything about it. He did it, but he said he's going to go ahead and upload it there. So you can watch him divide a pineapple plant. Look at this. Can you see this? This is massive. It was a little plant. It's in the pot there. It had tulle around it, see, to protect it. I throw leaves back in there. It is so happy that it got this big. That is unbelievable. And normally it was a small little plant. It's a brassica, hybrid of some sort, probably a cross between a dinosaur kale and who knows what else. But look how dark and rich the leaves are. You can make wraps with this. I just add them to my green drink. Oh my gosh. And then when I make, let's say, rice or something, I put it in a stir fry. More cuttings from the Hummingbird's lunch. This is gorgeous. And then chocolate mint everywhere. And I come through here and I forage. And I grab a bunch at night, and then I put it in a little vase or a jar with water. In the morning, I take all the leaves off. I break them in half, so this way it can leach out. And I've got this glass coffee pot I recently picked up for $2. And it's got an insert with holes. drop the leaves in there, pour some boiling water over it or very hot water. I let it seep all day, and I even add water to it. I add that water to my drink, like let's say I'm drinking water. I add it to that, but I also add it in the morning to my coffee. So I'm hoping you enjoyed this, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. You can see the difference. Hopefully I'll get to the chair garden, or at least get my rainbow garden done, which is right out here, because that is the plan. And this is what I'm doing. Instead of stressing out and thinking, I gotta get everything done now. Gary doesn't have time to help me, because he can't, because he warned me. I think my next goal is to get that out, and that will work really, really well. These are a waste. They're too small. I mean, you end up with some strawberries, but I have found that by changing things up, I could have a bunch of trays here with the dish pans. I'll get far more out of those red dish pans or the black ones. The black ones are great. They sell them at Walmart. They're under $5. The red ones, that's an oddball. The red ones actually sell for $8 to $9 each, and they periodically put them on sale. I'm thinking of getting some more. I saw some for like $3 recently, and when I see them, I try to tag it under the video so you can check it out. Home Depot's had it. Walmart had it. Wayfair had it. So there was a lot of people that had the red dish pans for really cheap, and I've never had one break. Occasionally, yes, the totes after 3-4 years, they may crack on the side. You can keep on going, but I've never had these break. They're flexible, they're food safe, they're number 5s, and they work fantastic, and that's what I plan on doing. Isn't that pretty back there with the plastic flowers shading my lettuce? So I hope you did enjoy this. There's a toy sitting on top of the dog kennel. And we'll be back in 2 weeks, like I said, and we'll see if I've done anything else, or am I just going to kick back in the bird garden and enjoy the birds and do nothing? I doubt it. With that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. You're gonna bite me. Ow! 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 Let's go get some breakfast.